Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Monastery. It is June 17th, 2018. Starting a bit late and on a different channel. It's what you got to do. I'll explain as we go on. But first, I am, as always, your gaming monk, Mildra, and joined with me is the master of the flat pack, Flatmeister.
Hey guys.
And for the purpose of this, good brother Flat, and as always with him, good brother Aaron.
How you doing? Hey, did I mention today's my birthday?
Happy birthday, Mr. Aaron.
to which I believe I should dismiss with the bleakest, blackest birthday gift since the world bleaked and blacked.
Oh no, not the comfy chair. Oh, at least it ain't the comfy chair.
No, you should know me better. I do the steel chair. But it's very good. It's very good to be back. I should explain why I have a new avatar that makes me look like a Buddhist. See, apparently some bot did not like the fact that I was talking shit about Hyperforce and decided to flag it for spam. I appealed. I haven't heard back. I was able to re-upload the thing, but the strike still stands, so I can't live stream on my main channel. So I have to use my backup.
Yeah, and whoever showed that channel, I hope you're freaking happy. May you burn in an ocean full of sea salt.
YouTube is so stupid with how, especially with small creators, like screwing them over, trying to appeal. Like, I got my first. It was a community guideline violation. It was when I reported. It was when I reported on Hellboy when the new Hellboy movie was announced and what David Harbour would look like as the new Hellboy, and that got flagged under what was it, like unsafe material or something?
Unsafe material.
That I was promoting unsafe material, unsafe activities or something.
Why? Because it's got hell in the name?
Oh my god. And people wonder why I stopped posting videos on my channel.
I appealed it and eventually got pulled, but
YouTube's system seems to be the sword of Damocles.
Yeah, it's basically turned into the UK government right now.
You got a license for that?
Yeah, oi, governor! You got a license for that channel?
It's like something out of a Monty Python sketch. It seems so far-fetched, right? But it does feel like that. Oi, you got a license for that meme? Well, yeah, because with the EU now introducing this like new copyright law, which will it'll basically prevent any people within the. It's like a whole copyright law or something that will prevent people from sharing memes and copyright content.
Yeah, you know the reason why they're doing this. Because they know they're up shit's creek right now and they can't control the message. But that's beyond there, and I don't want to bring any geopolitical garbage on to this here stream.
No, this is a place for having fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's not fun.
Yeah, we get to enjoy games and laugh at the motherfuckers trying to ruin them.
Now, first things first, Geek of the Week. There are two candidates and that I can think of, and only one of them is gaming related. The other one is not. As odd as it may sound, I'm going to give one Geek of the Week to Jim Cornette.
Uh-oh, what do you do now?
Well, the reason why was because when I recently saw the Showtime documentary Bipolar Rock and Roller about Mauro Ranallo, and he goes very much into how the difficulties he's had dealing with having bipolar disorder. And the problem that the thing that annoyed me was when Jim Cornette talked about it on his podcast, it was very clear that he had a staggering ignorance of mental disorder, and he just saw it the way some people see depression. It's like, oh, stop the whole, you have depression, stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's not that simple, and that kind of pissed me off.
Corny went there, did he?
Yeah, he didn't outright go there, but and then again, he actually tried to defend Bradshaw.
Oh God, yeah, the guy's a little. I understand and old school, but come on, Cornette in this case is calling the pot. What is it? He's basically a pot calling the kettle black at this point.
Yeah. Well, his whole reasoning was that he was the whole. Well, Bradshaw's been nice to me. That was his excuse when Bradshaw was bullying him to the point where he may have caused an attack. He may have caused a attack of Ronaldo's bipolar, and it was
Bradshaw and Cornette are from that same mindset. That's why they get along so well.
Yeah. But the other Geek of the Week award goes to Mr. Boone Cotter.
Ugh, that jagoff.
And wouldn't this surprise you if I mentioned that he's not exactly high up on the totem pole at Naughty Dog? He's a lighting artist.
So another ham and egger. Go figure.
Let me read his description. Hairy Aussie homo living in California. Lighting artist, Naughty Dog. Arf arf. Selfies and game dev and random gay shit. This is my voice alone. And of course, like everybody else has to, he has the pride flag in his avatar because
I'm helping.
Honestly, he seems like his voice would sound like Mr. Slade from South Park. Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Now here's the thing. About a week ago at work, there was this stupid ass survey thing about what you're gonna do to support Pride Month, and my answer was, and I ended up getting a bit of trouble because nobody got it. I said I'm going to do the most progressive thing that you can do. Not a damn thing.
I'm all for LGBT rights, but homosexuality is kind of pretty much accepted mainstream now. Yeah. Why do they need an entire month now to celebrate?
Well, I treat it the same way I treat Black History Month or Latino History Month or any of those kind of things. It's just empty.
Yeah, and I'll get into my reasoning after you finish your thought about Boone.
Yeah. But because he said, quote, "If you're so socially and culturally inept that the option to play a video game as a female gets you worked up in a frothy nerd rage. My name is Boone. I make games, but not for people like you. Your kind is done, mate. Do you ever want a favor and fuck off? You're embarrassing." Well, allow me to retort. My name is Mildra. I play games, but not because you make them. Your kind is done, mate. Do everyone else a favor and fuck off. You're embarrassing your company.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I think I retweeted that bullshit, and I put a comment there. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. I know I did earlier this morning. Okay, where are we? Okay, here's what I wrote to him. Going the Lucasfilm route, aren't we? Have you seen what happened to the Star Wars franchise? Huh? Comics? It's so bad that you have crowdfunded titles having to resuscitate the industry. And I got a phone call.
God damn it.
All right, okay, let me keep going. Comics, it's so bad that you have crowdfunded titles having to resuscitate the industry. You and yours have 3 years at best before you're out on your ass. And shockingly enough, he didn't block me. So,
Well, I am not blocked either. I think I haven't pissed him off enough.
yeah, but here's my point I'm trying to make here. Okay, listen, I really don't give a crap if your main character's lesbian. Okay, don't make such a big deal of it. I mean, your character's a lesbian. Well, whoop-de-shit. Are you making it a big deal out of it? I mean,
the journalists are.
At this point, you want to have a cook? What do you expect? A cookie?
Mm.
All right.
Well, then again, you're dealing with the same people who lambasted Far Cry 5 because it wasn't political enough.
Yeah, didn't go after going after the deplorables enough.
Yeah.
Hold on for 1 second. I gotta address that call. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay.
Because what was that? Yeah, I saw Brad Glasgow screenshot another tweet from Boone Cotter. He's basically saying that Boone Cotter seems like a cliche. It's becoming increasingly difficult to find people who aren't cliches. And Boone Cotter's tweet here, he goes, seems the entire internet is determined to spoil Mass Effect 3 because some crying gamer babies got all entitled up in their grill again. I've not completed the Mass Effect trilogy yet. Oh, I've completed the first one. I need to return back and play that through again. But I'm aware of the ending of Mass Effect 3 and the sort of the fallout of it afterwards. But yeah, to call gamers entitled, they're the consumers. We are the consumers, the people that pay hard-earned cash for a product in which we expect to have a good time, to enjoy it, to get hours and hours of gameplay and an enjoyment out of the product. To call us entitled is, well, I've just got 2 words for that. Fuck you.
That whole thing of acting entitled was it's very much a case of people who are so into their bubble they think that everyone thinks the same way that they do, or more accurately, they were making games for themselves instead of for an audience that was going to be paying. And that's why you have the Metacritic result. That's why you had the backlash. But the obvious question is that I've always had to ask this. But how do they expect people to respect them when they piss in their face? And ultimately, the sweet irony of the whole thing is that they're the ones who are acting entitled because people aren't falling over themselves to praise them, because that's what they really want. They want to be praised for all their progressiveness, and it's not happening. Now then, with that bit of madness out of the way.
All right, sorry about that.
Although I will say that if you want to see the beginning and the end when it came to that sort of thing with BioWare, just look at Dragon Age 2. That is the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, again, that's another trilogy has been sitting on my shelf, and I need to get around to playing.
Oh, so you're saying so apparently what I missed is Naughty Dog, if they're not careful, might end up becoming the next BioWare.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like I said, the only thing that disappointed me about that EA presentation was there wasn't a live execution of the BioWare staff.
No, but now as far as EA goes, presentations came and went. Devolver Digital stole the show again. Because they are Devolver Digital is the hero we deserve.
Exactly. Now, thing is, I only saw a couple presentations at C3. It's like after that whole Bethesda thing, it's like, kill me.
I didn't. Let me tell you a bit of a story, because as I've mentioned before, a few years back I was at E3.
Yeah,
I didn't go to any of the presentations, even though I could have at least one of them. The reason was I wanted to spend more time on the show floor itself. And yeah, I already told the story about how EA's part of the show floor was ridiculously obnoxious, even though I did manage to preserve that photograph of me riding a speeder bike. My whole thing was I wanted to go down into those areas and find things that I didn't even know I wanted to try out, because trying out new stuff and expanding my horizons has always been my mantra. That's how I found out, and I'm not sure if it's still being worked on, but it was on the show floor, and I tried it out. But there are apparently rumblings about making a new Amplitude, which I'm perfectly fine with. That's how I first found out about Salt and Sanctuary, and a few other titles. But I took that same approach this time, and while some places didn't show me anything new, there were still a few things that just said, yeah, I'm getting this. One of them was Spider-Man, and I know some people have been making the Rockstar accusations with them, but for me personally, Rockstar isn't touching Batman anytime soon, and it's doubtful that. And I wish them the best of luck with trying to make a Superman game.
Do you say Rockstar or Rocksteady? Did you say
Rocksteady?
Oh, Rocksteady.
Yeah, you said Rockstar, but it's
I fucked up.
Yeah, that's what pricked my ears up for a second. Then
it's like Rockstar's doing a superhero game.
Although I do have with the fact that you can't die in a Grand Theft Auto game, you may as well be a superhero.
Yeah, really.
But I will note that apparently I will note that EA apparently did the Roman Reigns treatment with their audio for their presentation, because when Battlefront 2 got booed out of the building, they actually did some down pitching.
Yeah, try to do the it's like try to pipe, even probably piped in cheers or something like that, just like how the
they didn't pipe in cheers, but they did try and reduce the boos. And
good luck with that one.
The only thing that they had that looks kind of interesting is that one art game from their
indie game.
Yeah, from their indie initiative, but that's not high priority for me.
Yeah, the indie initiative, it's like okay because as EA is pretty much giving a hands-off approach to them, they saw what they saw. I think they figured they would do what they did with A Way Out, just let the goddamn developer work. And you know what? It came out satisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one thing that really pissed me off about EA. You know it's coming.
Command and Conquer.
What the fuck are they doing with God. Command and Conquer?
Oh, God.
You know,
they turned it into Candy Crush.
You know, I think the biggest problem that I had with this whole thing was Andrew Wilson coming out and saying that it's Command and Conquer for a new generation.
Bullshit! It's Command and Conquer because your coffers are empty.
And not to mention they kind of did this sort of thing a few years back with Wing Commander, where they tried to toss in a new Wing Commander, even though everyone pretty much agreed that the series was over. You didn't need a new one.
Yeah, really.
And as great as it would be to see that sort of storytelling style being done with modern tech, I do not trust Chris Roberts to do it.
I don't trust anyone at EA to do it anyhow. I mean, Let's just put it this way. The only good Command & Conquer game that EA ever did, and I think I think it was probably because they had some of the Westwood staff on there. Was the third one, bar none. At least I
will give an honorable mention to, I think it was to Red Alert 3 because Ric Flair as a commander.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it. Actually,
And the bear comes out of nowhere and attacks him, or
Yeah.
someone in a bear suit.
yeah, Red Alert 3 looked a little stripped down, but you know what? It was still serviceable.
I think it had to be stripped down because they were trying to do an RTS on consoles, and that's
Oh, that's a non-starter.
well, it's only worked once, and that was Halo Wars.
Yeah.
And that was designed from the ground up for consoles, not as a multi-plat. What it ultimately tells me is that they hope to outdate the loot box outrage by giving people other things to be pissed off about. They probably I think they have the mindset that nobody would be interested in an RTS.
Yeah.
Or rather, their audience wouldn't be interested. And plus, the reason why they're going with mobile is so that they can nickel and dime everything.
Exactly. EA's like the king of fucking microtransactions. I mean, at this point, I think it's fair to say, based on Andrew Wilson's style of speaking, can we just say he's the damn Jeb Bush of gaming right now?
I can go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember that moment. I think it was in my it was last year's E3 video I did. I stuck the please clap joke right there when he went on his little virtue signaling bullshit. Yeah, so I figure it's fitting to call Andrew Wilson the Jeb Bush of gaming. All we're missing is a goddamn guacamole bowl.
I never got the appeal of guacamole, to be honest.
It's puke green. It's unappealing. I don't. It's like, ugh. For some reason, other millennials love that shit. They think it's the taste of ambrosia.
Well, it's probably because it tastes like their own farts.
Yeah, like I said, you know what they say: you are what you eat.
Yeah.
But some of the other, but there have been some other There have been some other reveals that I found to be quite interesting. I am looking now that I've seen some gameplay footage of it. I am looking forward to Total War 3 Kingdoms. I'm getting sick of the Warscape engine, but I'll just have to deal with it because it looks like they are doing some interesting things with it. As Arch pointed out, and I do have to agree with Arch that I'm not entirely sure about this whole doing classic and doing romance in the same game. Like maybe they'll be able to pull it off, but we'll see. And this will certainly be better than that Total War Saga game, Thrones of Britannia.
Yeah, so
I wanted to give it its due, since the way they pitched the Total War Sagas thing was that it was going to be that they were using Fall of the Samurai as their template, which is one of the best expansions I've played for a strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
But Thrones of Britannia was just way too slow. Like moving units around, and the size of the map is just way too big for what's supposed to be a smaller sized version of the Total War experience. Let me see.
Yeah.
But getting back to the whole thing with Spider-Man, I think I am very much looking forward to this. And yeah, they did admit that they've taken some inspiration from Rockstar's free flow system with the combat, but everything that I saw from the combat showed that comparing it to the free flow system used in the Arkham games is not entirely fair. you're not as defensive and not as immobile. You're moving everywhere and doing combos.
Yeah, well, even some of the older Spider-Man games on like the Xbox 360, PS3, and also the PS2 ones had kind of a free flow combat, like you could pull off cool combos and such.
Yeah, I just wish they do something different with the combat. That's because it's like every other superhero game, every other free roaming game, it always has that fucking Arkham combat shit on there.
Yeah.
It's like every fucking game. I mean, I understand. I think change it up a bit, will ya?
Yeah.
I'd say that they are considering that. At least with the footage that they've shown, the best way to describe everything is it seems to be very fluid. The reports that I keep getting is that everything controls very smoothly, almost seamlessly, and that I'm perfectly fine with. Plus, if the combo community from the Devil May Cry days gets a hold of it, I'd love to see what they come up with.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Devil May Cry 5.
Oh hell yes!
Yes!
Sign me the fuck up.
Yes, this
same here.
Oh, did you?
I'm loving Capcom this E3. Yes.
Did you see all of the this journalist getting Dante and Nero, or didn't even know that was Nero? He went, "Oh, Dante in this game has a cybernetic arm and looks a lot emo and younger." I'm like, yeah, that's Nero. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm
that's
gonna. Yeah, it's like.
That's Nero from Devil May Cry 4, and also in the trailer, it has Nero at one point. It shows he shouts out his girlfriend's name, Kyrie, and then he gets his demonic arm sliced off.
Not to mention he still has the Red Queen and Blue Rose.
Yeah, exactly. I instantly knew it was Nero when I saw him rev up the red. Was it called Red Queen? Did you say?
Yep.
Called? It's been such a while since I played DMC4.
Yeah.
But yeah, I instantly knew that was Nero because he revved up the Red Queen. Revved up that sword is so. Well, the fact that it's a sword with a motorbike handle and a throttle attached to it.
I'm just glad that they decided to go back to the original series and not try to continue off that DMC game. Now the concept I admit I thought was good, but but it turns out as time went on, it felt like the developers were being way too smug. And smugness gets you no brownie points.
No, Foxcade released part one of a two-part thing on that where he called The History of a Controversy and talked about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that I didn't even know about. And one thing that was brought up is that, for one, Devil May Cry 4, even though it sold well, Capcom wanted the Call of Duty numbers for it, which was never going to happen because a game like that is always going to be niche. But the early design docs seemed to indicate that they at least had their head on straight about what they wanted to do, including one early design doc that seemed to have Dante in a more Mike Mignola style of design, which to me would have been interesting. But apparently a lot of the changes that were to the game's detriment were at the feet of Capcom, who were still fixated on that westernization mindset that Hideki Kamiya had.
Yeah,
not Kamiya, Inafune. Kamiya just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But Inafune, the quote unquote father of Mega Man, had that mindset throughout the mid to late 2000s of we have to make our Japanese games more appealing to a global market, i.e., make them more Western. Because he thought that was going to be the future. And in the short term, he may have been correct. But considering how the Xbox brand went from the dominant image in a large amount of gamers' minds to being the third rate, shows that that was a short-term ideal.
Yeah, it was. It became even more short-term because Inafune didn't expect the damn SJW plague to hit the West hard.
I don't think that was something that even crossed his mind. What I do think was the ultimate problem was when Microsoft decided, yeah, the console space is dying, so we're gonna have to convert over to PC. And I'm not gonna harp too much on the conferences because everybody else has, but I will say that I considered Microsoft's conference, even with all their trailers, to be the weakest because it ultimately showed that they haven't learned from the mistakes of the last 2 years, because they're still relying on Halo, Gears, and Forza. Even though Halo Infinite looks very promising, I'm cautious about that because I've been fooled before.
Yeah, I don't buy the hype that Microsoft has some good games. Yeah, the question is, when are they coming out? Where's Crackdown 3?
Yeah, they keep touting Crackdown 3, don't they?
Yeah. It's
Crackdown 3 is a great game, but Crackdown 3 is not a game that's offering enough unique factor to draw in anything but its own audience.
Yeah, what was it they said that when they first announced it back in 2013?
Yeah, right when the fucking Xbox One launched.
Yeah, when they announced it, and they said, you'll be able to destroy any buildings. It showed like they'd strapped up this fuel tanker with explosives and then drove it at this skyscraper, and the building collapsed. And it's got like unique technology with realistic physics. You know, the building will break up. It will never break up in the same way twice. And presumably they have to upload a load of this onto like an external server or something or a cloud or something to make up for this processing power of this mechanic of buildings collapsing.
And to be honest, I'd imagine that physics engine is the reason why it's taken them so long, because they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah, I mean it's a good concept, but don't get me wrong. But
did you play Red Faction Guerrilla?
I have played every single Red Faction.
I've only played 2 of them. Like, I only played the first one, and I only played what's that second one where they took on that Stalin-looking motherfucker? Forgot what it's called.
Yeah, it's been a while.
His name was Sopod, I believe.
I'll have to think about that later.
But that was a great game, though.
Yeah, and I will say that Red Faction Guerrilla had possibly one of the greatest hidden weapons you could ever get.
Hidden weapon? Oh, you're thinking of Armageddon? It had the hidden weapon was the unicorn that shot out rainbow shit farts out of its ass.
Yep.
Okay. I found it. It's Red Faction 2. I thought it was I thought it had a subtitle or something, but it was just called Red Faction 2.
Yeah, Red Faction Guerrilla had some of the 2008? Did that game come out?
I believe it was 2009.
Oh, 2009, and that had really fantastic, for its time, building destruction. Building and environmental destruction.
Mm-hmm.
You could, literally make an entire building collapse. Knock out some of the main construction pillars and all the rafters and things, and watch the whole thing collapse on itself.
Why can't Microsoft just take the example of that and just improve on it a little? I mean, you don't have to reinvent the goddamn wheel.
Well, the problem is that in the house, in the greenhouse, the inmates are running the asylum. Now one other surprise that I did not see coming from the presentation, and this was during the Switch presentation, was Demon X Machina.
Didn't hear about this one.
This is being developed by several of the former Armored Core team.
Okay, that sounds promising.
And I don't know about you, but I have been absolutely starved for mech games. Period. And I know somebody will probably bring up BattleTech.
Oh
For
yeah.
the purposes of this, that doesn't count. I'm talking about put me in a mech, have me jetting around and shooting shit. That's the kind of thing I miss.
So basically, it's like BattleTech's a different animal to you, basically, huh?
That version, like something like Mech Warrior or the old Armored Cores, or hell, even Zone of the Enders, which I think does not get enough love. Those we don't have much in the way of that sort of thing. The only thing in recent years that I've gotten in that style was Project Nimbus on PC. There may have been a few other smaller entries, but that's not exactly saying much. And I don't count the Harebrained BattleTech, even though it is a very good game. And for what it's worth, Aaron, that whole they thing, that's as close as it gets to that sort of Kool-Aid shit. The actual campaign doesn't have any of that.
Yeah. I think the guy that runs Harebrained, I think he's a bit more aware of that shit. He's like, we're trying to minimize that shit as humanly possible.
Yeah, and I don't think he needs another shitstorm after he got caught in the bullshit of Harmony Gold.
Yeah, he just got the IP. He just wrestled the IP back from him. He doesn't need he's not going to throw it away because some fucking cranhead wanted to put her stamp on it.
I don't get it with these SJWs. Like, why do they feel the need to include these pronoun shits? Like they,
it's
them,
validation. Your cultural locust army, my man. That's why.
Well, it's basically the guy who does not want to deny that he got picked last for kickball. But. And it's very appropriate that I'm making that kind of reference, given that we're smack dab in the middle of the World Cup.
Oh yeah, it looks like
And let me take the time to make fun of Germany for losing out to Mexico.
That's what you get for drinking soy, Germany. You better check your lockers, check your pregame content first. I think Merkel probably spiked some of your shit.
Yeah, they need some protein in their diet. I do have to say as well that I'm very interested in two other entries that were debuting on the Switch, aside from Smash Ultimate, which I think was a given. And actually, I'll bump it up to 3. One is the return of Super Mario Mario Party.
Yeah, the troll game. The troll game of troll games.
Yes, I will maintain. If you want to drink somebody's salt, just have them play around with Mario Party. Salt will ensue. Yeah,
bring a lot of popcorn, bring a lot of fries, because there will be a lot of salt.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't some I'm offended sort of salt. This is the motherfucking dice block. You have to give me a 1 and you give that guy a 6.
It's like in every Mario Party game, you swear the dice in the game is the consistency of an NBA referee.
I think the only game that in the Mario family that can be as torturous is Mario Kart.
Oh shit!
Especially Road.
I walk a lonely road because everyone else fell the fuck off.
Yeah, because everybody. Yeah, that's the thing about Mario Kart and Mario Party. We control the hell out of everybody else. It's freaking amazing.
That and picture this. You're doing real well. You're sailing past everybody. You're in first place.
Blue shell.
It's the final. It's the final
Blue
lap.
shell.
You are inches away.
Blue
and
shell.
Then that thing drops.
The blue shell. Troll. Ultimate troll weapon.
Although I will give Mario Kart 8 some props for the fact that
now you can counter the blue shell.
Yeah, if you have a super horn, you can counter it, or if you're really good and know how to boost at the last second.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny about Mario Kart? You know who I just found? You know whose Twitch channel that I visited to see who's playing that shit? Does the name Hitomi Tanaka mean anything to y'all?
No.
It does to me. It's a bit of a surprise and a bit of a not surprise, considering that, well, not too long ago I found out that she's a fan of DBZ. So props. A few other entries. I'm very curious with Fire Emblem Three Houses how that's going to work, because it seems that they're yes. Keep in mind, Treehouse
can die in a fire.
They are pretty much dead. Most of the localization is handled by the European branch that doesn't suck.
Yeah, what part of Europe? That's what I want to know.
Not Britain.
Thank God.
Like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, everybody seemed to have Welsh accents. It was like everybody was trying to either be bad Irish or bad Welsh, and given how many people they managed to piss off with that incident, they have been very careful not to try that again. But Three Houses, it seems that they're expanding how combat works and are including stuff like formation warfare and trying to up the scale of conflicts to make them feel like armies versus armies. Which I am it's probably still going to be character focused, but you have a lot of backup soldiers, which I'm perfectly fine with. It's going to introduce a new layer to it. Sorry.
Yeah. As far as the translation team, you know what? At this point, for Fire Emblem, where do they still have Ted Woolsey's number?
Could have swore he was retired.
I don't give a fuck if this guy hammed it up back in the day. Get that motherfucker back out. Have him do one more, just until they get a new crop of translators in there and kick the old team back into the fucking commune.
Well, according to my research, the translation team that was handling Fates no longer works there.
Good.
So you're in the clear in that regard. A lot of people have. I looked over what people were saying about Octopath Traveler. A lot of people were saying that it was trying to be old school Final Fantasy. That's not the vibe I got. The vibe I got was Romancing Saga.
Oh, Romancing Saga. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
The reason why is because of the focus on several different classes, each with their own story and their own arcs that seem to be the idea seems to be that separate but going along similar paths. That's why Romancing Saga came to mind, because with those games you had separate characters who were kind of doing these. I don't say it was an episodic structure, but not quite.
Yeah, that's another thing that's pissed me off. Why the fuck have they never localized the Romancing Saga series? They did. I know they did Saga Frontier and Saga Frontier 2 and that other Saga game that we don't talk about.
Yeah, Unlimited Saga. I think I had that at one point.
Oh yeah.
If I had. I know that Romancing Saga 3, I think that did get a translation and get released on Steam.
It did? Holy shit, I'm going to have to check it out then.
I think it... Whoa. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Someone fall over?
Yeah, this is why you should never have This is why you should never have circus midgets holding up your microphone.
Mildred, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right. I just slipped. And for the record, I don't have circus midgets holding up my microphone. That's what I hire Hornswoggle for.
It's still a midget.
Yeah, it's penance for that arc. You know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's more Vince's fault. Why should he have to pay for his sins?
Yep.
Anyway.
But there's also the. I am intrigued at the possibility of a new Star Fox on the Switch.
That sounds pretty good.
It'll be a good excuse for me to yell at Slippy for being useless.
Yeah, you know what they should do for that new Star Fox game. Who's that? I know it ain't Cat, but who was that? I forgot the name of that one that was in Star Fox Adventures. That was cased in like crystal. I forgot.
I think her name was Crystal, just with a K. She made an appearance in Assault.
Bring her back in this one just to piss off Saint Anita.
Well, given how Assault effectively added her into the team proper, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch.
Yeah, and not only that, just give her a skimpier outfit. The only downside.
It's hard to do a skimpy outfit when you're supposed to be a pilot.
Yeah, but the only downside of that is fucking furries.
Yeah, there is that. Although,
but didn't Saint Anita complain there wasn't enough female representation in E3, and Polygon even wrote an article.
They tried. I think there was that, and there was also not enough female presenters.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they tried to.
EA. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, they try to spike. Yeah, the pilot says, they're not female competitors. Then they try to spike the football. Said Gamergate lost. It's like, pick one, you idiot.
Yeah.
And you were talking about that EA, that presenter is like, I've never heard of her before. I mean, they probably need a pretty face just to keep Andrew Wilson away from the fucking camera. Well, fat lot of good that did.
Yeah, probably. I had a bit of stupid happening in one group that I'm in because I said I said I had put Cyberpunk and Detroit Become Human side by side, and I said, this is Cyberpunk. This is not Cyberpunk. Any questions? Because somebody tried to argue that Detroit Become Human is a grounded cyberpunk. But putting aside that being a contradiction in terms,
I would say
being futuristic does not make things cyberpunk, because a lot of people forget the punk part of it.
Yeah, like I said, it's more. Yeah, I think it's sort of like a cyber. It's like all the futuristic stuff is science fiction. It's science fiction at that point. It's like it does look cyberpunky, but it's sort of like a different kind of cyberpunk if you think about it. You know.
So what do you mean, Mildred, by the punk in cyberpunk? Then, like, just for the viewers at home that may not be aware of the term or its meaning.
Well, here's the thing. Cyberpunk at its the reason why I say that is because a core tenet of the punk movement is self-expression, the whole DIY nature.
Well, the modifying and
taking something and modifying it, personalizing it, that kind of thing. You see that with how a lot of proper punk rock groups will have a lot of their stuff personalized, including their own outfit, and put a bunch of stuff on say their jacket or their guitar or something. That is the kind of thing I talk about when I mention the punk aspect, because when you a setting like Detroit Become Human, even though it's futuristic and a bit dystopian, there isn't that personalization. There isn't that rebelling against conformity. There isn't that making your own way attitude.
It's more like it reads more like a police procedural if you think about it.
It actually that's a fair point, because when I reviewed Detroit Become Human, I said this is a fanfic version of the Caves of Steel, which moreover you could say that's a fanfic version of I, Robot, except it doesn't focus on breaking the rules the way Asimov would with his work. Right? I shouldn't say breaking, but more of toying with them.
So what you're saying is, what difference between a dystopic future story and cyberpunk is? It's cyberpunk celebrates sort of the individuality, if you will. Am I right?
Yes, because if you look at the Cyberpunk 2077 trailer, even though you've got a lot of people with cybernetics, nobody is the same. There isn't a universal setup for cybernetics. There's also the fact that another aspect that I've described when it comes to cyberpunk is the labyrinthine nature, and by that I mean being inside the proverbial labyrinth, where all you just see is more of the labyrinth, and there's just corridors that lead into more corridors that you don't have a way out of.
So basically, it's the Hong Kong effect, right?
Hong Kong or Seattle. That's why I was perfectly fine with them using Seattle. Was a smart move for something like Blade Runner because of Seattle's constant rain.
Actually, Blade Runner took place in LA, didn't it? You're thinking Shadowrun.
Yeah, I might be. Keep in mind, it's been a while, and it's hot as hell.
I don't blame you.
But the thing is, and I do sympathize with getting back to Cyberpunk 2077. I do sympathize with the fact that they had to make a judgment call and put it in first person. I understand why some people are upset about that, but at the same time, I can't fault them for this, because in that same thing, there was also talk about we got to look with our initial concepts, we got a little over ambitious and we had to dial ourselves back. So some of the things that we wanted to do are gonna have to go, and I think one of them was doing things third person. Because they had already mentioned that they were going to have to make some radical changes to their Red engine. Sorry to jump around, but I found the post that I was making while I was looking through. I just spent an afternoon just going through different trailers. One comment that I saw regarding going back to Spider-Man for a second, I saw that was interesting, was Insomniac has stated that they want two things. One, they want to make a game that's both a Spider-Man game and an Insomniac game, and that meant plenty of gadgets, because, well, you probably know at least one franchise that Insomniac is pretty well known for that has that kind of thing.
Which is that Ratchet and Clank?
Yep.
Is that Insomniac? Yeah.
The question is how they're gonna utilize that into Spider-Man. The only gadgets we only know from him is the web shooters.
Well, there were web bombs in the footage that was shown, and there also seems to be some sort of focus ability called Web Blossom. Where
Did you ever play the Amazing Spider-Man on the PlayStation 1?
Oh, that was just Spider-Man. The Amazing games were those tie-ins, and they sucked.
Oh yeah, that's it. Sorry, you're right there. But yeah, you had all these different web attacks. Like you had Web Shield, which he literally made a web dome around himself, which could protect you from attacks. And then at any time you could activate it, and it would blast open and and that would damage opponents as well.
Yeah, you had that. You could do web gauntlets where you could use them to boost your attack for a while.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because you had to take care with it because you're using the old web shooters, not the organic stuff from the Raimi films. It does seem that they're going with a Sinister Six sort of thing, which is why the inclusion of Mr. Negative was interesting, because he wasn't in the Sinister Six.
Yeah, really. I think, let me see, Sinister Six. It was Doc Ock, Mysterio. Was Goblin one of them?
He might have.
Might be Hobgoblin, I'm thinking.
Probably.
Yeah, so let's see. Doc Ock, Mysterio, Hobgoblin. Oh my god. It's been a while since I read the Sinister Six, but I think that's a good starter right there. Because then you have six classic villains ready to go, and it'll make for an interesting game. I mean, I figure what they'll do, like six overarching story arcs for this game.
I can easily see that. I get the feeling that the villain that they hinted at the end is probably Doc Ock. That would be the most apropos. I really hope they go out of their way to avoid using any member of the symbiotes.
Yeah, no symbiotes, and definitely no Green Goblin.
Yeah, those wells have been dipped in way too much.
Yeah, Venom can have its own game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, he already kind of did with Ultimate Spider-Man back on the PS2.
Yeah.
That was basically a Venom game that just happened to have Spider-Man in it as well.
Yeah, I would say they're gonna have I think they should just wait till that Venom movie comes out, see how it does. If it does well, maybe they can sort of have a spiritual successor with Venom, and they'll have it in instead for that game, instead of New York, they can have it in like San Francisco.
Well, Prototype is quite similar, sort of a spiritual successor to Venom.
Oh yeah, that definitely.
Yeah, yes and no. It's a spiritual successor to that, but also a spiritual successor to what Remedy was making before that, which was Ultimate Destruction with the Hulk.
Yeah. Not played that. Not played that game.
Well, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think is very interesting this year is that 2019 is going to be the year of samurai games. Because we got 3 of them announced, and all 3 of them look very promising.
Yeah. Each of them have unique visual styles as well.
Yeah. We have Neo 2, which is probably going to be an improved version of what we got beforehand, which I'm perfectly fine with. Hopefully they fix it so that you don't have to spam so that you can't cheese through bosses by spamming sloth. Ghost of Tsushima, which is being done by Sucker Punch.
Oh hell yes!
So I have some faith in that being pulled off pretty well.
All right.
Plus, the fact that they talk about precision when it came to the combat gives me a bit of a Bushido Blade kind of vibe.
Yeah. It's
probably not going to be as unforgiving, but the focus is probably going to be, don't go in guns blazing. Wait for them to make a mistake and then capitalize.
So basically, I think they're starting to learn a look. Some of these studios are learning from Kingdom Come. They're learning from Warhorse.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of precision required, and a lot of not parrying, but a lot of.
It's basically a thinking man's game, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this is just from looking at what little footage they had,
and it looked beautiful as well.
Yeah.
On horseback, going through that meadow of those white flowers blowing in the wind, and the battle under that tree that had all the red leaves flowing in the wind. God, that trailer looked beautiful. And obviously, a lot of these developers do use bull shots or whatever they're called. You know, they for E3 they use a lot of pre-rendered, high graphical trailers.
Yeah, I'm willing to get the reason why I'm willing to give something like Ghost of Tsushima a chance is because of the stuff that Sucker Punch has done in the past. Namely, they know how to do an open world with their experience with Infamous in all three instances of that, and I think they're the only group that actually somewhat got how to utilize a morality system.
Yeah.
Of course, last but not least, when it comes to this samurai trilogy, is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
It's just like Dark Souls.
Fuck off.
Except for samurai.
This is the samurai Dark Souls. You know the journalists are going to resort to that again, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to get all pissy. They're going to get all pissy pants. They might even throw in a training level that a fucking Ben Kuchera won't be able to pass.
It's like, oh god, this get good toxic culture. And
although there are a few things that it's doing that have me a bit eyebrow raising. One of them is that they want to focus more on single player than the kind of multiplayer that they've done in the past.
That's a good thing. I think that's a good thing because I'm tired. Because personally, I'm tired of these freaking.
Yeah, except here's the thing. The Souls games have handled multiplayer in a different way. It's not some tacked on thing, but a case of where you could. The thing that could very easily be taken away from this is some equivalent to the bloodstain hints that were in previous games, and that might be a bit of an issue. Plus there is a certain appeal to PvP with the game. Since you're effectively testing how good your build is against someone else's. We'll see how it plays out. But the other thing that I find interesting is that because of the fact that it's based more on a posture system and not on stamina, this game seems to be more encouraging to attack rather than play defensively.
That's one thing I didn't like about Dark Souls. It's like it's like half the time you're always turtling.
Yeah, Bloodborne. You weren't turtling as much in Bloodborne, and you definitely weren't turtling as much in Neo. But it is still a issue, because what apparently the theme that Miyazaki's wanting to go for is a clashing of swords. Vati Vidya did like a 15-minute video on the matter. And that plus the possibility of verticality is opening up some new options that if I have to lose character customization and PvP in order to get those, it might be a welcome sacrifice.
Yeah, I agree.
But Activision, you stay far the fuck away.
Yeah. You see, yeah. I mean, I'm glad they're going the single player route because, like I said, I don't know about what the rest of you feel, but like I said, PvP, I felt it's overdone. It's getting to the point where it's like it's basically a griefing feature at this point. And I'll get to that. I'll elaborate on that point when we talk about some of Bethesda's shit. So.
Yep, but I know I'm probably in the minority, but I am looking forward to playing Dragon Quest XI. I am definitely looking forward to Lost Paradise, which is basically answering the question, hey, you know those guys who make the Yakuza games? Let's give them the most violent manga we can find.
Oh.
Yeah, they gave, and because of that, I had to make a poem. Roses are red, violets are blue. Omae wa mo shinderu. Apparently, Platinum is working on something called Babylon's Fall, but they haven't released much on that front.
Yeah, but what do you know about Dragon Quest XI? Because if Dragon Quest is sort of like my if go-to game, if it's like, you know what, everyone else's RPG sucks. Let's play something simple.
Dragon Quest doesn't rock the boat very often, and the only thing that they're doing here seems to be a bit more seamlessness when it comes to field and combat.
Yeah.
That's the gist that I was able to find. There's not too much. There's not too much different that they're doing. I'd like to hope that they took a few notes from when Level 5 handled Dragon Quest, because 8 is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, but like I said, the reason they don't do much with Dragon Quest, because I think with that series it's more like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think it's a good approach. It's worked so far. All they just do is jam more content, maybe change it up a few every now and again, but not too much. But
Ubisoft had only 2 things that I really cared about. One was an expansion for For Honor, which I know a lot of people don't like it. It is a soft spot for me because you don't really get, because that sort of emphasis on melee you don't really get. The only game that I have that really does that kind of thing is Blade Symphony.
Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to Skull and Bones. I think because we haven't really had that kind of ship to ship thing since Black Flag, and this basically seems to be taking that and just making it into its own game, which I'm perfectly fine with.
So they decided to make their own pirate game, except no assassins.
Yeah,
I think that's a good.
I am willing to bet that you will see some media hit pieces on Strange Brigade, even though the trailer for that thing made it very clear this is not to be taken seriously. This is pulpy as shit. Like this is so pulpy. I was expecting Doc Savage to show up. I'm looking forward to Phantom Doctrine, which seems to be taking the XCOM formula and putting a bit of a spycraft spin in it. I'm still not entirely sure what to think about Days Gone. On one hand, the idea of the wildlife also being zombies is interesting, but it feels like a Walking Dead game in all but name.
Yeah, really. Yeah, maybe they got the license, and it's like, we lost the license, but what we're going to do about this game? Just reskin it. Jump
Force looks interesting, but it's very clear that it's early in development.
Yeah,
the name would do with the change. Jump Force.
Yeah, that's very.
I get the joke, but I'm gonna be one of the few people who does, because all the characters that they've shown are from Shonen Jump.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. I think we'll see a third Watch Dogs game before we even see that game coming out.
Yeah. One Piece World Seeker, I'm going to be keeping an eye on because it wants to do the whole open world, and I'm not sure if One Piece is a good idea for that.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed? There's a lot of Japanese games like based on Japanese folklore and Japanese licenses coming out from a lot of these companies.
Yep.
I think we're seeing that whole Western shift that you were talking about earlier. I think we're starting to see more of a reverse to that because they realize Japan's starting to kick ass in the video game while Western gaming is turning into a fucking shit show.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more that the Western scene relied on too few properties and cannibalized them too quickly. And the ultimate example is how Microsoft has gone from having all these exclusivity things to just being the Halo, Gears, and Forza show.
Yeah, basically, Microsoft. I'm gonna stay close to what I predicted last year. They're on their way out. They might go PC exclusive in the next year or two.
Well, I already buried the Play Anywhere initiative. it is interesting that we're getting 2 Cthulhu-style games in the coming years. There was the Sinking City.
Oh yes, that looks awesome. That does.
And the game that has the actual Call of Cthulhu name. Do a better job than Dark Corners of the Earth. That dropped the ball midway through. This may seem an odd pick, but I am looking forward to this. Tetris Effect, which is basically they hired Tetsuya Mizuguchi, the same guy who did Rez and Child of Eden, to handle Tetris. Which means that it's going to be Tetris, but if you've seen footage of how Rez works, you know you're not just getting normal. You're not getting normal shit with him.
So basically, it's Tetris. What would Tetris be like in Twin Peaks?
I wouldn't go with Twin Peaks, but more of what would happen if you had Pink Floyd do the visuals.
Oh crap!
Because he's very good at having these sort of dreamlike visuals with his work. But those were just a smattering of some the other. Oh, I should mention something interesting that's been brought up recently, is that when it came to the fighting game scene, for the longest time, it's been the scene has been dependent on Street Fighter being Atlas, and I mean the Greek Atlas, not the company. More in the sense of they're the ones who have to carry the load and carry the direction for the scene. But now it seems that other games are carrying that load a lot more. And I did get some confirmation that the whole thing of Dead or Alive 6 removing jiggle physics, that's not happening. That's been backed off on.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure if it was something that they backed off on or something that they got roped into, because they're saying that they want to make a bigger splash when it comes to the competitive scene.
Yeah, but the question is, why who in their right mind would get rid of the jiggle fixes? Remember, this is strictly
made the game, wasn't it?
This is a strictly Japanese studio, Team Ninja, right?
Yeah, that's why when it came to the notion that they were going to be doing that, I found it to be. I know a lot of people started doomsaying about this, including Quartering, but I found this to be a bit suspect because I couldn't find any direct corroboration straight from Team Ninja saying that they were going to be doing that, or even implying it. It was all from journalists, and more specifically, the only one I was able to find that corroborated this was IGN. So I didn't really
take them with a grain of salt.
But they were something like this quote from one of the developers saying that the jiggle physics couldn't be compatible with their engine that they were working with, or something.
If they're developing a new engine, then okay, I'm willing to buy that to an extent.
Yeah, I find it a bit of a flim-flam kind of excuse, really.
But I think what it ends up saying is that they don't want to get in hot water again, so they're walking that back. Plus, I'd like to think that the Extreme 3 incident has caused them to rethink their approach.
Yeah, these fucking assholes.
The dark horse for me, because it is going to be Ace Combat 7.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one.
Oh,
I love Ace. I love me some Ace Combat, especially if they're going back to the Strange Reel saga, something that was missing from Assault Horizon.
Assault Horizon, they have basically retconned.
Thank God.
Which is a smart move because, like I said, that was from that point in time where they were trying to, where everybody was trying to westernize their stuff.
Yeah.
That's all. Those are the major. there now, of course, there's been stuff that was announced before, and that we finally got to see some footage of, like Soul Calibur 6, which I'm very much going to be looking forward to. And I will admit that I'll probably spend a bit of time seeing how Geralt translates to this game.
Yeah. Getting back to Ace Combat 7, I find it funny that Arusia is pretty much the supposed villain of the game this time. Because you remember back in Ace Combat 4, you had to take down Arusia. Now, this game is like, okay, you got to take down Arusia again. But of course, seeing that the leader of that country is one of those sweet princes, unless she's like some sort of Dolores Umbridge type character, I see there's something else. There's something else that the developers ain't telling.
That's probably the case, and with the amount of, and they can probably get away with being a bit secretive on the matter, with the amount of diversion that's going on elsewhere. But I feel like Ace Combat 7 is them doing a return to form approach.
Yeah.
I'd say though the ultimate walkback was with Battlefield 5, because if you remember the controversy over the multiplayer trailer, the trailers that they showed after that showed that DICE was more on point there with what they were promising. And this is what got them really booed, was when they announced that Battlefield 5 would have a Battle Royale mode.
Ugh, Fortnite clone.
PUBG clone.
Fuck PUBG. Fuck those games.
Actually, I'm going to let them do this because I want to see if PUBG is going to be stupid enough to sue EA.
They'll try. That's the whole thing about all these games, Fortnite, PUBG, and even this one. It's like, I don't see this whole battle royale thing lasting too long. They're gonna cannibalize themselves.
Well, that is ultimately the problem. When you've got everybody scrambling to do this sort of thing, you end up with a market flood, and thus the bloom ends up being off the rose. That's why I call 2000 to 2005 the D20 bubble, because everybody was trying to do their version of their little version or expansion on D&D, and there was just nothing but that shit in the stores. I hate freaking like I said, make so everyone's copycatting. I hate it when people copycat, especially. I mean, it's okay if one or two do it again, but if going back to that Arkham thing, it's like if 10 or 12 games over the span of 6 years do that, it gets very rote. It gets very boring. Yeah. Now, some people have made attempts to copy the free flow system, but they've always missed the point. Hell, even one of the Amazing Spider-Man games tried it, and I think it's also telling that Insomniac said that they're big fans of Devil May Cry as well, and I can kind of see that with some of the air combos.
Yeah.
Plus,
sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna go get another drink. I'll be right back in a second.
There was something I was going to bring up, Mildred. Was I find it funny that you were saying about all these games sort of moving towards the sort of Japanese samurai games that we're getting coming up, which I'm really liking. I want to see games that show history from other or culture from other countries and ethnicities and such.
Total War is showing us China.
Say that again.
Total War is showing us China.
Yeah, and I really want to see these other cultures and histories from other places. But then you got people that are salty and complaining that said cultures are being shared. Like with the Ghost of Tsushima, there was this he's a famous composer, and he was playing this like a bamboo flute. I forget it's
a shakuhachi.
Shakuhachi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he was even dressed in the sort of traditional samurai garb, wasn't he?
He was wearing. he was wearing he was wearing a traditional hakama. I think it was. Don't quote me on that. There's a lot of variance on the matter, and I do like how Mombot had pointed out that the guy who was playing is his name is Cornelius Boots, who has international acclaim and has been and is a world recognized shakuhachi master, and started learning music at age 9.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's able to keep up with he's able to play and keep up with Atsuda Okuda, who is the greatest player alive when it comes to that instrument.
Yeah.
Which is why I had to share a comment from Whispered that I came across 4 years ago. Because now, if you don't know, Whispered is a melodic death metal band from Finland. Because of course they're from Finland. That's not racism talking. Finland literally has the most metal bands per capita.
It's the land of Yngwie Malmsteen. Come on.
You would think it'd be Germany, but no. Germany just has a monopoly on power metal.
It's Scandinavia. I mean, come on. It's like the home to Yngwie Malmsteen. Half these metal bands that perform in what's that concert that metal concert that Antifa tried to raid or something?
I don't know. Because I know there's Wacken, but that's in Germany.
Yeah, because I know Razorfist was talking about that in one of his rants.
Mm-hmm. But he had said, but Miko from Whispered had said, "Why should we? There's plenty of metal bands doing that already. I myself love our theme and the path that Whispered has taken with Japanese influences / mythology. Who says that your theme has to be something related to your native geographical location? This is just something really exciting and inspiring for us."
Yeah.
And this is coming from the same band who managed to make a song all about the kappa and make the kappa sound threatening.
I was hearing a lot about Sony, and the guys that's the morons that cried foul over it, they got nuclear fucking backlash. Yeah, and even Ashley Riot, you know who she is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she retweeted that. I think if she deleted it or something, but she basically said don't, if there's no offense, why? It's like, don't get over offended. And besides, I forgot what it is, but like I said, I think if I go back to her, but again, I think she deleted it. But I put in response, of course they're not going to listen. It's their job to get it. It's like
a professional outrage.
Yeah, they always cry about culture appropriation. And by the way, how can you appropriate your own culture? Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Isn't Sony a Japanese company?
Exactly. And then this is what made me laugh. They said, "Oh my god, this white man is playing Yellowface." I'm like, how? What? Just because he's wearing the traditional costume, he's not making his eyes slanted and going, "Oh, how are you? I am Asian." You know, talking with the voice.
Yeah, it's like
or making him have buck teeth, like, "Oh, hello." You know, with sort of Bugs Bunny teeth, you know, sort of stereotypical, sort of stereotype of a Japanese person. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's like Charlie Daniels. It's like they're saying Charlie Daniels culturally appropriated bluegrass. What the fuck is this shit?
Well, it is.
I think it's called
based
cultural.
All around the whole idea of. Well, it's, as I've said before, it's anti-individual.
Yeah,
it is. Again, it is trying to establish somebody's value simply by where they happen to be born.
Yeah. So bottom line to that guy who basically trying to say, they Sony appropriated their culture, even though it's a Japanese company. Well, you get a slap for that.
But I call where they call it cultural appropriation. I call it cultural. Was it diffusion? Appreciation. Cultural appreciation. And cultural diffusion. You know, you've got cultures meeting and coming together, and people, you know, being introduced to new cultures and appreciating them.
Yeah, especially that dress girl. I mean, she looked like a fox. I'd do anything to get. I'd be anybody to be her freaking prom date.
10 out of 10 would smash.
Yeah, exactly. And I bet you his prom date was having a good time after that shit.
Yeah, but
hot and based. My two of the
I will admit that I get a little. I've mentioned this 2 weeks ago, but I will freely admit that I get a little pissed off when it comes to the whole appropriation thing, because, as you guys know, one of my all-time favorite games is Legend of the Five Rings, which is some. I don't care who I can't say I don't care who does it, but Hairbrained, when you're finished supporting BattleTech, maybe you should call Rich Wolf and see if we can get some L5R games in here. Like whoever manages to do that and do it right with the clans and all that stuff has my money. Like here you, because I would pay good money for a 4X game that used Legend of the Five Rings, with each of the clans trying to vie for the good for dominance in the eyes of the Emperor. At the same time, it's more. I think the other issue is that the sorts of people that complain about appropriation find the idea of studying said culture to be beneath them, or think that there's some magical perspective based on who is writing it, or where someone is writing it is from. I do not use for example, I do not like the term Western anime, simply because first, in the case of something like Avatar, the only thing Western about it is where the creators happen to be. That's really where it begins and ends. And that's why I've considered. I don't consider something like Avatar Western anime. I just consider it as anime. But whenever I've come up to one of these sorts of people and asked, have you ever heard of Benkei? Have you ever heard of the folding fan as a target? Do you know what the difference between kabuki and no is? And they look at me like I got turds hanging out of my mouth.
Oh,
or
yeah.
that I'm mansplaining or some shit.
Hey, you should have done. You've seen Mystery Science Theater, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Have you forgotten where I live? Oh
yeah, that's right. You're in the home of KTMA, which I think it goes by another call letter now, but. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was a segment, I think, in the 8th season. I think it was Invasion of the Neptune Men, where they basically had a kabuki play. He's like, but I prefer no theater. You should have ran that gag on them. Yeah. Why you dissing Japanese theater? That they have lots of theater, and including no theater.
Although
look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen. I know you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it, and
look at it. Google MST3K no theater spelled NOH.
Yep. And since you brought up MST3K, I need to get the obvious song out of my system. A strapping tide, let's get set for action to hoist the ship up off the sands. He tried to kill me with a forklift. Hooray! But yeah, the final vibe I have when it comes to E3 is that if you're just looking at the presentations, you're missing out. The most rewarding use that you can get out of E3 is to delve into the trailers and the gameplay footage. Try and avoid people shoutcasting over it as much as you can. But there is one thing that I need to there are two things that I need to address that were the crown jewels of E3. The first is that for me personally, as somebody who has hoped with beyond hope that I would see it in my hands, the time has come. Metal Wolf Chaos coming to the States.
Finally.
The game that has been high up on my I might import list if it weren't for shipping screwing me over.
Yeah, so basically so it looks like so it looks like you didn't have to go through what's that freaking import site? I know it ain't JList. I forgot what it's called.
The only time I've used
PlayAsia
is during the whole Extreme 3 thing. And that was because they were selling so many copies of it, they reduced the price to what it would normally be.
Yeah.
But the other thing, and this for me was the winner. In the Street Fighter section of it, we had the true dream match. Mere days after his championship win in a 70-minute match at Osaka Joe Hall, he goes over to E3, and we get the Elite versus the New Day in Street Fighter V.
Oh my god!
And Kenny had some zingers, including telling Biggie, all right, let's get started, and you can enjoy the only main event you're going to have in your career.
Oh,
but and if Kenny ended up winning, which meant Woods had to go through 2 habaneros. Kenny had 1.
Oh god!
And that for me was the highlight. The rivalry will probably continue, but the fact that this happened makes this year's E3 worth it. With all the shit show and all the drama that happened, the fact that you had 2 people from 2 completely separate promotions coming together like this is a winner.
Yeah. Well, now there's one. Oh god, what was I thinking? Okay, speaking of shit shows. Oh, there's one person out of the entire E3 that deserves to get a smack for that. Todd the Hobbit Howard. God, I'm ready to pun his ass.
Didn't someone out in the audience he goes,
Antichrist.
Didn't someone in the audience he goes, I know everyone's been waiting here for one thing, and someone went, Todd Howard. Oh yeah, gee, thanks.
The only good thing from Bethesda's presentation
Doom Eternal
was Doom Eternal.
Oh yeah, I'm looking. That's definitely the next. That has next year written all over it. Yeah, but Doom Eternal, I think that's gonna be pretty good.
I want new demons. I want more new kick-ass glory kills. More gruesome glory kills.
Yeah, but you know what I think Doom Eternal would work, and I think it. And I know I'm gonna get flack for it because okay, now you're just turning into a goddamn Duke Nukem clone. Women enslaved by demons. I know.
I don't.
This is.
I really don't think that. I don't think that's going to work simply because.
Yeah, this is the Western gaming industry, so I.
It more has to do with the fact that the Doom Marine is not interested in being flashy.
Yeah, he's interested in kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah,
and pretty much.
because you have reached a special level of terrifying when they have to essentially bring down a temple around you to seal you up, and even then they treat you like the boogeyman.
Yeah, that shit ain't gonna keep them cooped up for long.
Yeah, but with that said, the highlight for me is going to be the fact that with a new Doom, that means an excuse for more work from Mick Gordon.
Yeah, I can't.
But I don't really have much to say about Starfield because they didn't really show anything.
Yeah,
the Elder Scrolls 6, because of the more
2020 release. That's all I'm gonna. Well, actually, I would say 2020 at best. I would say worst case scenario 2022,
which means that they're probably still using the creation engine.
Yeah.
It seems that they want to try and have a more lighted atmosphere, a la Oblivion and maybe Morrowind, which hopefully that's the case because they because of Skyrim, every time I want to do a campaign themed around that's more Nordic themed, people keep bringing up Skyrim and it pisses me off.
Oh god, and that's one thing I'm hoping Elder Scrolls 6 doesn't go. But you know what? Again, this is the Hobbit we're talking about, and I think he's gonna dumb the fucking thing down even more.
It made me laugh that he said that the next Elder Scrolls, will be coming out for next gen.
Next gen, yeah, it's 2022 easily, or 2021, 20 or 2022.
There's also the fact that he thought he was being cute with the very special edition.
Oh yeah, he got jokes. But the piece de shit songs is, of course, Fallout Grief Edition.
Oh yeah,
call Fallout 76.
Fallout Grief Edition.
Now on Thursday, last Thursday, Routes had a few choice words to say about it, and one thing that he brought up is that this was a case of, yeah, we're gonna have you guys do all the work for us, because if they're doing this multiplayer, that means they're probably doing that so they have an excuse to not put in factions, especially doing it supposedly 25 years after the bombs.
Yeah.
Boasting about the size of the world, which is going to have dick all to do in it if you're going single player. And there's also the fact that because it's going to be connected to a server, having mods be possibly only Creation Club mods is going to really screw them over. And I know why they're doing it is because they don't want other people to make them look bad by doing a better job.
So no modding. There's going to be PvP up the ass. And it's like you get to build your base, but every other asshole's going to come around and nuke your shit every once in a while. I'm like,
well, I think
this is basically Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto Online Fallout Edition.
So at least with something like Grand Theft Auto, you can occasionally fuck around with physics like the gate glitch in 5 or the swing set glitch in 4. If you remember either of those.
Oh yes.
For those who don't remember, I'll go with the swing set glitch because that one was funnier. If you manage to park your car just right near any swing set, the car would go flying off like a cannon halfway across the city.
Yeah,
I've seen some YouTube videos of that.
The swing set becomes a damn howitzer.
Yep. Same thing can happen with the gate glitch, but it's a little harder to trip.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem with some of these fucking multiplayer games. It's like they're basically two-step shy of fucking Battle Royale.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's like
don't give Todd Howard ideas. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel Battle Royale.
Oh god. And like I said, they could have easily done sort of like what they did with World of Warcraft, where you had your PvP zone, right? But you have your PvE content, and it's like very, very, very focused on that.
Yeah.
Be more cooperative and what have you. I mean, I like that sort of multiplayer if I ever play fucking multiplayer, but going PvP is like you're gonna have a bunch of fucking gifts running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if you don't know what a gift is, it's acronym for Greater Internet Fuckwad Theory.
The other thing that I noticed is that once again they're still using the creation engine, even though it's pretty clear that engine needs to be upgraded. Needs to be upgraded something fierce because it cannot handle modern hardware.
Yeah, really.
But Fallout 76 does not feel like a game to me. It feels like a mod.
Yeah.
A $60 multiplayer mod for Fallout 4 because there was nothing I saw that was unique to 76.
Yeah, really. I mean, I've seen, like I said, the upcoming DLC mods that they're creating, Cascadia and Miami. I'm more looking forward to those.
Oh yeah, Fallout Miami, like
When it comes to Fallout, the main thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing what Mofidius is going to be doing because they are doing a Fallout RPG. Using their 2D20 system.
Oh.
And Mofidius has done good stuff in the past. Like I mentioned, they Corvus Bells Infinity, Mutant Chronicles, the upcoming John Carter, which they did not decide to social justicize any of the Red Martians, and they definitely did not social justicize Deja Thoris.
Oh god!
making her wear a burqa or something.
Well, never mind the fact that it would be really hard to justify that because large amounts of clothing is not exactly a thing when it comes to Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of social justicizing anything and going back to Bethesda again, the Wolfenstein series at this point, would it be safe to say is they did that shit with it now?
The new Colossus was the final straw.
Was it Youngblood? Sorry, go on, Meldra.
The new order brought it back, and the game. It's like the people at id who knew what they were doing moved on to Doom and left Wolfenstein to the B team.
Yeah, the B team ended up being the fucking Soy Boy Brigade, the Soy Boy Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
And the thing is, I actually liked I liked to an extent the Old Blood, but it wasn't as good as the New Order.
New Order is great.
The new Colossus, I liked it in concept more than I did in execution. Yeah. That was the point where they tried to take themselves seriously, and that was to their detriment.
Yeah, they made a fucking tanky a hero. They made a tanky a hero. Man, that could have been sort of like the secret villain. Oy vey.
But I am
never make the tanky a hero.
I am trying to figure out what they're trying to do when it comes to the idea of doing a sequel to Rage. Because Rage was a very infamous flop. Not legend infamous, but the problem was it was probably the most unoptimized shooter that I'd played in that generation, where things were just constantly bugging out, and they were having engine issues throughout the entire development. Given the popularity of Mad Max, I can see a Rage 2 working.
Yeah.
But hopefully they've learned their lesson from previously that you can't just do the brown post-apocalypse anymore.
No, sir. Nope.
Rage 2 seems to be almost copying Borderlands with its sort of crazy punk rock, mohawk, anarchist kind of.
Yeah,
it's copying Mad Max, is what it is.
Yeah. It's basically do it. I mean, at least what Fallout did ever since 4. At least it sort of took the game away from that sort of wasteland desert scene where there's quite a few evidence that there's still some vegetation left, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, if you had the right bod, it'll be like sort of like playing it'll be like playing The Last of Us if you think about it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go, guys. There's one I was going to quickly just say about Death Stranding. We've finally gotten some gameplay footage, some in-game game footage. The game looks lit, hella lit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've looked at it. It sounds to me like all had no cattle.
Do you think? See,
as far as Death Stranding goes, it's really too early to say, and Kojima is being very coy about details. But it sounds like he wants to make an anti-Metal Gear. Like Metal Gear very much had a lot of empowerment aspects to it, and it seems like in this case that is not what he wants to do. He wants to make it where you are just a speck in the presence of titans.
Oh my.
And the fact that he said that you can use a firearm, but it might not be a good idea, seems to highlight this sort of thing.
Yeah. See, I was wondering because he was saying about there's this sort of connecting with other players. So I wonder whether when you're playing your playthrough and you use your gun on whatever these ghostly black figures are that are connected by these mechanical umbilical cords floating up into the sky, what happens when you kill those enemies? Is that you killing another player from another world?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to go that far.
Yeah.
But we'll see, because I guarantee we're gonna see some more stuff at Gamescom in a few months.
Yeah, don't forget Tokyo, because I think that's where Square Enix will show their shit. They don't like showing their shit at E3. But anyway, I think that's pretty much all I'm expecting out of E3. Cyberpunk 2077. I think that's the one I'm really looking forward to, despite CD Projekt Red's little foibles. But I can easily see that being a 2020 release at the earliest.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to go because it's a bit late for me now. It's about 10 to 4 a.m. That's probably with these with the different time zones.
This is why Flatmeister. This is why I don't encourage anybody else to do what I do with Japanese pay-per-views.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm also gonna wrap it up too, because I've had a long day and I only got 3 hours sleep today.
All right.
Yeah. So
I think that'll be a good spot to wrap things up. I think we'll go with the plugs. Wednesday, I will be continuing the stories of the Second City on the RVT channel. Hopefully, they seem to be doing a good job so far of not getting killed. They learned their lesson that L5R's combat is not to be fucked with. Thursday, I hope to crash the party with the stream of corruption. Not sure if we're going to be doing D&D on Friday. That's still up in the air. and of course, we'll be back here on Sunday. I'm hoping to do the Onyx Path reading then. I was going to do it tonight, but we're not going to have enough time. So we have that sort of thing to look forward to, as well as the Geek of the Week and whatever else bit of insanity.
Yeah, I expect another dumpster fire coming, especially since things are heating up. I mean, we got Lucasfilm going and using the Lucasfilm defense. We got everybody using the Lucasfilm defense.
I love that phrase now.
Yeah, I'm going to start a hashtag Lucasfilm defense every time some scumbag decides to insult their fucking audience.
Well, yeah, they're doing that with Ocean's 8 now, aren't they? Oh my god!
Well, I knew that was going to I knew that was going to happen as soon as I saw the early reviews because a lot of the early reviews were positive, but they didn't say anything specific.
Yeah, and get this, they're thinking about making 9 more fucking Star Wars movies, including a Rian Johnson trilogy. I don't know. I think half that shit won't even get green-lighted.
Probably not, especially since there's rumors going about that Kathleen Kennedy has been allowed to resign.
Yeah.
Allowed to resign.
Yeah, get her out of here.
Well, especially since Solo, I've been getting conflicting reports, but Solo has lost somewhere between $40 and $150 million.
Ouch.
So what a shame.
And the critical response was average, but you don't spend $80 billion on a property like Star Wars just to get average.
Yeah.
But with that said, I hope all of you have a lovely day. Hope to see you on with cooler weather next week or whenever I see all of you next. But until then, on behalf of the absent Doku, Flatmeister, and Aaron, I am Mildred the Monk. Stay frosty.